everybody knows, right? So Reddit, there's a bunch of Redditors who in 2018 called a deep fake the subreddit. They kind of first brought these pornographical images, videos of famous actresses and mostly actresses. So, and then that's how the term deep fake came as a real thing. So we, as researchers, what we did was we analyzed from 2018 to 2022 of the discussions related to deepfakes in all the subreddits. So we we accessed the Reddit API and then got this much of comments, and between 2018 to 2021, I did the 2022 too, it was same. So this is our research design. What we did, like, whenever you have a large set of data, you'll just imagine, because the structure of the data is about the Reddit has field to comment and field to post. So you will decide, like, how would you start first, because it's a large unstructured pile of data, right? So I thought to go by two ways, right? One is that the posters who are posting these things and people who are commenting other society, or the people who are interested in these subjects areas. So because we didn't have any idea what they talk, we started from the topic modeling level to see, like, understand what kind of things they talk. So we did the topic modeling, and then we also not just the topic modeling as the whole, but we also looked in each year to see the trajectory, how the conversations evolve within year by year. So what we found is, and the topic modeling technique we use is NMF. If you know, mostly people use LDL, whatever, there's many others. Now GPD models are mostly available, BERT models, but I think I was comfortable using NMF, so I use that. And these are the topics. So the question that we wanted to see, like, what type of conversations that Redditors talk about deepfake and how this change over time. And it was interesting to see that in the early days, or the 2018, mostly about, like, hey, what's going on, deepfakes, this is very scary, what's happening to the world. But if you come to the 2020, 21, hey, I want to create deepfake. I can give you $5. Can you make a deepfake for me? So it's like more funding of creations of deepfakes. Some people ask, like, I'll give you, I'm imagining I want to have this deepfake fantasy. Can somebody help me? And then it was like a nurturing incubator for people to come and get the hands-on experience of how to create deepfakes, and also a place, we call it a marketplace, where people can, I give you money, you give me a deepfake. Like, I give you a photo, you give me a new deepfake of this person. It's more like revenge prawns that happen many times. So the colored codes were mostly the unique topics, and these are the unique posts. So yeah, so creating deepfakes, tutorials, and new pornography, and surprisingly, Japan, India mostly came out than other countries that we can see. So, so what we saw as the discussion is that it's escalating to a level that people want to make it more behavioral thing, habitual thing, where they everyday use, just as, like, they don't even feel this is bad or guilt, or there's nothing, like, because the society, the discussion were making it as a normalized thing to do these deepfakes and asking money too. So so through that paper, we also discussed some of the implications and which I don't have much of the time. So, but still what I want to highlight is that this is a genuine platform that everybody kind of, rally around to a bad case of deepfakes. But in the future, what we wanted to see is that in a social computing platform, we can't decide what not to talk and what to talk, right? I mean, in the Facebook, you see like any hate speech or any opinion, these come as free speech category, but how human computer interaction researchers as us build interventions, at least to slow down these kind of discussions. But for us, coming from the computational social science background, it's important for us to understand what are these sentences about? And one way that we wanted to see in that lab is that because there's, should we look from the moral point of view? Like there's theoretical morality of people, everyday people. There's a famous psychological concept called five categorical morality. And at some point we did a paper, we kind of analyze what moral category that each conversations belong to. But at the end, we found out that the moral theoretical foundations, which already established so far, is not about doing the right or wrong thing in the way that we want to evaluate in a system. So still we are not having a good foundational theory to evaluate this kind of conversations. So there's no easy task for us to classify this is morally wrong or morally right yet for 100%. But there's many ways that people try now that natural language processing, tools that are design emerging. There's many ways that people are trying to understand, given a text, whether can you predict this is morally wrong or morally right. So yeah, so that's one of the design implications that we want to bring down to the platforms and say that, you should have these things, because so far what the platforms have are the mostly community members working for free for them to flagging, saying that this community member is talking something bad, therefore I'm flagging, and then it will take by the platform at some point, and it may not sometime. And I don't know whether you also know this IC2S2 is also a computational social science conference, and we published there, similar to the Reddit discussions. We want to see what happens in the other platforms. Now, Reddit is a very tech-savvy, very well-designed platform to conversations like this. But what happens in the Twitter space? And then we want to see comparison. Are these two platforms talking different things? Because society, if you take the society as one dimension, these societies are, far apart of what they talk. And it turns out that even though the Reddits were mostly niche topics, they talk about, these two communities have many common things they talk, but it turns out the Twitter is sometimes, it's not a platform that people talk about, oh, this is, or like a marketplace, as what you see in the Reddit. They are more of the spreaders, like you have information about the deepfake, you quickly share it to your followers, and you wouldn't even click to see whether it's true or false, or this should be shared or not shared. So it's a behavioral thing that we found, like they would share to get more attention. So it's a space where you spread false news much more faster than any other platform. That's the intention of Twitter, actually. That's the design of this platform. So the next phase that we wanted to do, or we could do many other platforms. We could have done in the Facebook and analyze the same conversations. But at some point, I thought, let's try to do some experiments and see whether we can bring down some interventions. So we did some action research. And then one of the hypotheses that we had was that, let's say, assume, I call it, if you know the term called inoculation. Inoculation is given some sort of immune for to be ready to see fake news, like to have a critical mindset to you before you see any other news. Like you given some of the pre-training to see anything suspicious. Say, for example, if you have encountered a fraudulent activity before, and then you will be vigilant always, like, oh, this person earlier, that kind of person gave me this experience, and would this person also be same as that? You'll be more cautious on your actions. So similar level to technologies, platforms, behaviors as well, it's called inoculation. So we thought, like, if we give some training for people to understand how easy it is to create deepfakes, would they believe whatever they see in the internet? And given that, would they also, instantly share these things in the internet, given this, pre-training, whatever. So what we wanted to test was believability, which whether would you believe, and would you also share these? So we did an experiment using Prolific, and we had two groups: control group, which had nothing to do with creation of deepfakes, and a treatment group, which they did create a deepfake. So to learn how to create deepfakes and to understand better how easy it is to create deepfakes, right? So we give them this tool, and then we ask them, hey, use some of the videos that we have and try to create a video and see, experience yourself how to create deepfakes. And then, once they did the activity of creating the deepfake, this is the control group. As you said, our political psychological department also said control group should not be not doing anything. They should do something not relating to the treatment group so that they equally spend the time. So we gave a neutral video to see instead of creating a video. So that's our control group activity. And then these two groups, one group did the activity of creating a deepfake, other group just watch a nothing video. And then these both groups were given 12 videos to evaluate. So these 12 videos had 50% of the deepfakes, 50% of the non-deepfakes. So they were not told, like, this is a deepfake or not, but the proportion is 50% deepfake, 50% non-deepfake, 50% related to political, and 50% relating to entertainment type of videos. You can see entertainment, which means these are American. We only use the US-based participants, so we use US people, or like the people that they known to them, and some of the deepfakes and some of the are not. All of them familiar to you, I hope so. And then what they, so these were the real videos actually, and these were all fake videos. They were synthetically designed, and the things they say is not the exact things they said. So it's all about like 1 minute video, and this is incarnation. And then what we ask is like two main questions in the sense for the intervention, like how likely do you think this is a deepfake video, and how likely would you share this video in your social media networks? And also we also test their familiarity to the video, and then whether does that video interest them, and these are all aspects help us to understand individual video behaviors if it's changed based on the person to person, right? So we ask these pre-questions as well. And then finally, we test, we analyzed whether, is there a difference between these two groups? And what we see is that in terms of the believability, there wasn't any difference. The both group did not have a significant difference between do you believe this or deep fake, or whether would they be able to understand this is a deep fake or not. I mean, some people can say that the people who got the intervention to their hand, would they be not trusting any video at all, right? That's one of the hypotheses that you can make, but our case results show that both groups did not have, they were having the same behaviors, even though you had the intervention, they did not change them at all. Kind of different thing what we found in the when we pair the groups between the entertainment and political side. So a very interesting finding that we found is that given you are a political, given the videos are political, the intervention really stopped sharing. So in the sense, if you have inoculation to videos, they tend to reduce sharing of more deepfake videos. So intervention really kind of, worked as we expect. But in the entertainment content, I think entertainment was in the entertainment context, it's more like different interactions. Even though you had this interaction or the hands-on experience, you would share exponentially anything. So intervention did not work in that. I mean, that's more of the opposite that we believed. So, but the conclusion that we made is because this is entertainment and people would want their attention, or it was mostly about what interests them to see these interactions. Yeah, so this is what about politics, and this is about the entertainment. So in the nutshell, what I can say is that for political type of videos, that kind of inoculation worked, but entertainment did not work because people anyway wanted to share. And we also did some subsequent test studies as well, and to see what factors does affect to anybody's shareability or the intention to share. It turns out mostly the video is more novel or interest them, that make them to share more into their network. So no matter since you know that this is becoming a great problem for everybody, and as usual, the EU is mostly working harder to similar what they have done for what they have done in the GDPR. So they brought something called EU AI Act, which is imposed recently, and I think it's fully approved now. So they have a specific section for deepfakes, and that section says that any company who's doing deepfakes or any platform who's doing deepfakes in the EU region need to label them. But the caveat is that they are not being specifically saying how platform can label any deepfake data. If you know, if you can understand, usually, I don't know whether you have seen some platforms, say, for example, Facebook or Twitter, sometimes, there's tiny explanation marks saying that this is false information or this is being debunked, that kind of small flags. You can see those can be categorized as label, but it's very a gray area or very unexplicit area because it can change from platform to platform. Facebook might use a very tiny button to say that, or like tiny icon to say that this is false or this is what, and then rest of the platforms might have different ways of saying this is deepfakes. And some interventions are called watermarking. So watermarking your deepfake or AI synthetic content. Watermarking is not always visible for naked eye. So that is going as a debunking technique than a pre-bunking technique, right? Pre-bunking is that within, before you encounter the content, you would know that this is, what is it? And debunking is that after you share and encounter that thing, and then sometimes later, the fact checkers can say that this was not the actual truth, and this is the truth, and there's a slight, tiny attachment or tiny text, or there's many kind of interfaces which designing these pre-bunking, debunking strategies. So it's all up to platforms. So Instagram has different policies, how they show these labels have AI generated or not. But again, what's the other problem is that the labeling thing, what the platform is making a noise is that, it's not us who's making deepfakes, the users who's making, and they should do it, or like they should label it. So if you see now, what Facebook does is when you upload an image, they give an interface to say that, is this deepfake or not? And I have to say that, the user has to label that. And this was most funniest thing that they were Facebook had done for me personally. And would you be able, if you're sharing a deepfake, then would you label proactively saying that this is a deepfake? And that's how the platform is designed so far. And then whenever you are sharing, so the interface will pop up and ask, is it a deepfake or not? So they are passing that to the user. And on the other hand, the platform should have tools, technologies to detect these things, which they don't have, or else they are not investing their time and money for these kind of things. So we are coming to this debate. I don't know how, because during the next 1 year, the companies have to roll out their whole EU plan, this plan, how they're going to, deepfake is a tiny thing under the AI Act. The most things that they are following is like mitigating the biases and, other stuff, but this is very small hack that they have to do. So not, companies still, if you see now, Instagram, Twitter, and a few other companies have joined some coalition called Creation of Content Coalition. It's done by the, it's called CCC. So it's for labeling these deepfake things. So they are kind of, coming into one alliance, saying that how, as a platform, we are going to be labeling, because every platform working in different ways. So they are trying to kind of come with that strategic labeling way. So it's still under construction, not yet finalized. So that's where we are. And my future research, actually, the things that I'm doing now are mostly related to this labeling, because I come from human-computer interaction background. I want to see, like, even, you can, labeling is not a new thing, but labeling deepfakes or AI generated content is something new that you could expect different behaviors from people. So we are trying to design some of the experiment to see like what kind of labels, like whether the aesthetic of the design labels, or things like whether the label, if the label is generated from a system, would people believe more? Or a label generated by crowd workers, would they believe more? Or label generated by the general human? Because there's crowd workers working as fact checkers who label stuff, and there's other ways like, the general people, you can flag content to say that, oh, this may look like false information, or that's how the interventions have been there. So how lay people can support to detect these things. So we are kind of designing some of the experiments. So that's going to be our CAI paper in September. We'll see how it goes, because I'm desperately wanting to go to Japan again. That's my home, second home for many years. Yeah, so all the resources and everything, I tend to kind of, publish all my data too, and methods, and we pre-enriched every time whenever we do experiment studies. So everything is in the GitHub, or follow me in the media channels. I can support you.